So we had the bright idea that in order to draw a bunch of youth and have a big outreach event, that we were going to do a water balloon fight. But we didn't want to do just a normal water balloon fight. We decided that we were going to do a blind water balloon fight. So it was actually a little darker than it is right now. We waited until it got dark and we had a water balloon fight. And we were out here in this field, and before it started, we had a bunch of kids here. I think we had around 50-something kids here, and that was more than we normally ran then. We had 50-something kids. We had drove around in the church van. There were some kids walking down the street carrying baseball bats, and they weren't going to play baseball. But we stopped and we talked to them. We said, hey, we're having a water balloon fight if you guys want to come. And those kids had shown up. But we had played some games. We hadn't really started very far into it. And we just went into this all-out water balloon fight. And I was standing right about here and had a water balloon in my hand, I think, and had thrown it at somebody. And a kid started chasing me this way. One of the youth leaders, I think, or an older kid. His name's Nathan Wentz. He was one of the people chasing me, I believe. But I think there were about 8 people chasing me, and I took off running this way towards the church. So I'm running towards the church as fast as I can, trying to get away from these kids because I'm trying to get away from water balloons. And again, it's pitch dark. I can't see anything. I know that there are kids behind me. I'm turning, looking behind my shoulder, running this way as fast as I can. And I look up, and these guide wires that didn't have any kind of protective thing on them, these guide wires are here. And I see them when they are about 6 inches away from my face. I remember freezing in my brain, like time standing still, and me thinking, this is gonna hurt and it's gonna leave a mark. And this top guide wire caught me across my face, caught me across my nose. This guide wire caught me across my chest. I flipped over the guide wires. Crystal, my wife, was standing about 8 feet away from me. And she said I looked like Sylvester off of Looney Tunes going around a clothesline. So here I am on my hands and my knees. I've knocked my teeth out before. So the first thing I do is I reach up and I check and make sure that my teeth are still there. So my teeth were still there, and I was good with that. I was covered in blood from head to toe. I had to throw all my clothes away. I was fine walking over to the fire department, to the ambulance. The EMS workers tell me that I'm gonna need some stitches. No duh. And they offered to take me, but I told them I would save myself the $500 or whatever it is to ride an ambulance. And I started walking back this way. I had on one side of me another youth pastor who was an offensive lineman in college, a real big guy. On the other side I had Brandon Hammond, Biscuit. He's a big guy, and all I could get out of my mouth was Biscuit grabbed my arms, and I passed out and collapsed. And so when I left, I was fine. I'm coming back over here. My oldest son was about 5 years old, and he sees them dragging my bloody, limp body across the street. My wife's standing over here, wondering why they're dragging me back across the street, because she was over here trying to calm all the teenagers down. But they get me back across the street, get me in the car. That's when I head to the hospital, and they stitched me from there. So anyway, a few months later, I was all healed up and everything, and I went to eat lunch with some teenagers at Westside High School. And there's a big courtyard, or there was a big courtyard that you walked across from the office to get to the lunchroom. And I got done eating lunch with some kids, and I was on my way back to my car. And this kid comes walking up to me, and he says, hey, and he starts talking to me. And I'm usually pretty good with faces, maybe not with names, but I'm real good with faces. And the kid, he looked kind of familiar, but I could not, he knew me, but I could not tell where I knew this kid from. And he talked to me and talked to me and talked all the way across the courtyard. We were walking and talking. And we got to the point where he was going to have to leave and go back to school, and I was free and going back into the office to sign out and get out of there. And he said bye, and he walked back over to his little group of friends, and I heard him. He said, hey, that was the guy. That was the guy I was telling you about. The one at that water balloon fight that we went to. The one that smashed his face on those guide wires. After hearing that, I got to talk with those kids and invite them back to church after I realized who they were. And they came to youth service. So if nothing else, God used me smashing my face on some guide wires to get some kids that were just walking around the street carrying baseball bats to, first of all, come to a water balloon fight. It'd be a memorable experience for them. and then for them to come back to an actual youth service and get to hear the gospel.